Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 One Club story from Hemel Hempstead Town with me, Daniel. It's part 112 today and we are back for two very big games. The first one is against Athletic Bilbao, that in the semi-final of the Europa League. It's a remarkable first season in Europe, but we've got a lot of work to do because we are behind going into the second leg at Kenilworth Road. We're going to need some magic under the lights to save us. We've also got a trip to Newcastle on my birthday in game. It is Newcastle United in 7th place, 4 points above us. It's actually quite congested in that middle section of the table. And we'll be seeing how we can compete with the rest and maybe just try and get a bit closer to last season's position. But obviously it's not our main priority. We are probably going to rest players for it. But I have got a bit of a dilemma with the fixture schedule, which we'll take a look at the moment. If you're looking forward to the episode though and seeing if we can make a European final in our debut season, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from two long-term stories. Is the head coach coming towards an end? Well, we'll find out over the next few days. You can find a link to the latest season of that in the eye above, as well as the Twitch channel, the football podcast and the merchandise store, where you can find lovely items like this mug, which I'm using now and might be relevant to what we need to do in a cup final in a few weeks' time. You can also support the show as a channel member down below, but thank you very much for your incredible support. Let's get into it though. We've played a fair few games off camera and we've got some struggles going into the second leg of this one. And to be fair, it has come partly due to the schedule, because if you have a look since our last episode where we played Atalanta and City and were really professional, the schedule's been very unkind to us. For example, after the City game, we had 6 whole days off. Then we played 3 games in 5 days. Someone make sense of that. Like the Watford game, you looked at them, they were rubbish. We would never ever have lost to them in normal circumstances. But because we're playing them 48 hours before a Europa League semi-final, of course I can't play them. So a really weird setup. The one positive that's come out of this spell is we've had some great young stars though. And some of those who are in the youth team who we didn't know if they were going to step up are really getting a chance to prove their case. And some of them are taking it. So at home to Bournemouth, we won by 5-0. We did play the first team in this one. Then we went reserve, first team reserve. And we're going to go first team today, of course. Carlos Martin got himself a hat-trick. Ricker and Ndu got 1 apiece. And I think that shows, where you compare it to the Watford game and even the Palace game, the last league game before that, the difference between us having our first team playing in the league and our largely second team. I think that tells you why we're mid-table this year. And if we can have a normal season next year, then we'll be back in that top 6 mix. But after that, we did obviously lose to Watford. We nearly got a result, remarkably. We were 2-1 up with 15 to go, but we just ran out of legs. Ian Watts and Tammy Abraham got the goals there. Watts started, we had Declan Cottrell at right back, and then Toby Bliss and David Wilson from this year's youth intake both came off the bench late on. But even in the midfield, like Terry Clark was playing in the middle of the diamonds. It was so patched together, but we managed to put in a decent performance and I was fairly happy with that. What we did have though was a 1-0 defeat at Bilbao. It didn't pay off as such and it was a late goal that cost us. Charlie McNeil got an injury which will keep him out probably for most of the season now. But is 1-0 okay? I think it might be an okay result still. We've just got to find out if we can overturn it in this leg and it might be a bridge too far. Athletic Bilbao have got 2 world-class players in their team and a fair few other decent ones as well. The good news, we bounced back with our reserve team against Birmingham and Ian Watts off the bench this time scored both. Really incredible effort from the youngster. His potential still hasn't gone up, but we know it's dynamic in this year's game to an extent and he is going to be a good professional, but whenever he plays he scores. He's got those core attributes and I've been really impressed with him. Still only 17. And other youngsters featuring in that game too. So today we've got Bilbao and Newcastle. We've got the stupid situation again like real life this year where the FA Cup final isn't the final game of the season. What I'm hoping is it's not scheduled like this year where the Europa League final is then 4 or 5 days later. Because if we do get to it and we have to play both, I'd like to be able to go first team. What it does mean is we probably have to play most of our first team against Newcastle as well, because I need to rest absolutely everyone against Leeds. So let's go and get through to the game today. It's going to be the first 11 that plays. It's almost certainly going to be Manchester City in the final. They won 3-0 in the home leg against Lazio. And did we have any fitness news? We did not. We do have some transfer news though. We'll look at that in between the two games. So let's go and get through to the lineup. We're going to pick our first 11 or the assistant's first 11. We're going to tweak it to see what we need to do. Okay then, we're officially getting to bottle stage from my point of view. I've put a goalkeeper on the bench. That's how you know I'm taking things seriously. John Moore is starting in goal though. He's got a big new contract. And look at him as an example. Compare his stats from when he joined to now. I mean, it's incredible. That's what we're going to put our end of season review focus on this year, is just looking at how much some of these players have developed. Because John Moore in his own right has become a very good Premier League keeper. In the fullback areas, we've got Delgado and Chauvin. We've got Hannafan and Striker in the middle. Arlan and Du, Moreira and Martin, the midfield diamond. 6 goals already for Martin. Can't understate his influence. It's only 6 Premier League starts. Hasn't really had a great game in Europe at all yet. But hopefully tonight will be the one that changes that. And then Ricker up front with Torres. I mean, Ricker's having a super year. He's getting back to his best. He's not playing regularly for Uruguay, which is a little bit of a surprise. But it's a very good side. We've lost a little bit of quality off the bench with McNeil out and putting a keeper on and sacrificing another outfield player. But there's still a lot of quality there. It's a 1-0 deficit to overturn if we want to reach the Europa League final. But regardless, this has been a great first season in Europe. And if we don't win this and we don't win the FA Cup, it'll be Europa Conference football next year. And I'd really fancy my chances at winning that. Let's get into it, see what we can achieve. Well, you briefly caught a glimpse of the 11 changes we've made. Just one for Bilbao. They've still got Nico Williams, who is one of the best players in the world at this stage. But they've only got 6 subs, which I find a little bit bizarre. Having said that, they're still going to be the favourites because it says we are. But we're 1-0 down and they were by far the better side in the first leg. It wasn't a case of getting hit on the counter or anything. Bilbao were the better team. So I'm surprised that we're favourites for this. I don't know what tactic they're going to come out with, but I think this is going to be tense. Let's see if we can get on top, because we're back early with a highlight. Have they matched us up again? We saw Atalanta do it, and it looks a bit closer to a diamond, as Williams, who we mentioned before, nicked the ball, tried to play the through ball, but Delgado does well, and Torres wins it for Moreira. Over to Martin. We said he hadn't done well in Europe yet, and he's missed a great chance early on then. Lazio won up against City already. We talked about City being in the final. Or can Lazio produce the comeback? Probably not, because City have equalised already. We're 20 minutes gone here. The stats suggest we're dominant, but we're not seeing much of the game. Not a good sign. With just a couple of minutes to go to the break, we've had less possession, and we might have had 11 shots and a couple on target, but nothing that we've seen. And now Bilbao are looking for the sucker punch on the counter. It seems at 1-0 up in the tie, they've played this perfectly so far, and it's even better now, because Jokin on the break has put a beauty into the corner. And considering how dominant we've been, their first shot on target finds the back of the net. Their expected goals is 0.08. That tells you everything you need to know about that one. But this is what happens when you play great teams and great players. We're going to ask the lads to show a bit of desire. We'll give it 10 or 15 minutes and then we'll change personnel. But the bench isn't stronger than what we've got on there. As Chauvin finds Striker. Throwing just inside their half. Striker marauding down the right wing, forgetting his position for a moment. Chauvin goes back to him again. And it's inside to Moreira. Time on the ball. He's not in a rush. Finds Martin. Can we get the opening? He's been robbed of possession. It's just a little bit slow tonight. They're camping players behind the ball. And it's a really good shape. As Ricker gets in. Can we create the chance? Oh, we do. But he's at the post. 12 shots to 2. Expected goals 1.5 for us. But we haven't made it count. And Athletic Bilbao are going to the Europa League final. This is what you have in Europe sometimes. You have teams that are so disciplined that they just make it count. Moreira is losing discipline, so we're going to go for Miguel Coronel. Martin hasn't been great in Europe all year. Terry Clark on for him. I could take Ricker off for Abraham because he's had a wonderful year in Europe. And maybe this is the night for experience. I know that Ricker is a wonderful player. He's missed a couple of chances, and Abraham has been star of the season in this competition. 20 minutes to go. I think we need a miracle. Well, I don't think it's going to happen. We've gone attacking. We've tried to chase the game. I mean, look at the stats. At the start of this game, you would not have predicted 1-0 to Bilbao, but we do bow out in Europe. It's been a wonderful run in our first season. Even in that game, we deserve to go through, but Ultimately, it's the first leg performance that's cost us, and a lack of quality in front of goal. That's when you need Charlie McNeil, your best finisher, to be able to come off the bench. But we're at the stage of the season for injuries, so all attention will now turn to the FA Cup, because if we win the final of that, we return to the Europa League next year. If we lose it, we go based on our Carabao Cup result, which is Europa Conference football. For now, though, we've got Newcastle on Sunday, and that in a league is a much bigger game. At least it takes away some scheduling issues, doesn't it? Let's look at the bright side of life. And for Hemel Hempstead Town at Kenilworth Road, penultimate year borrowing Luton Stadium before our own one is finished being built. Well, it's one hell of an effort, isn't it? Semi-final, what an achievement. But we do fall short at the semi-final hurdle against Athletic Bilbao. On to Newcastle, let's get a good Premier League finish. I'm back for Sunday afternoon football. Leicester v City and Newcastle v Hemel Hempstead. Both delayed because of differing Europa League results on Thursday. Manchester City into the final, flying a flag for English football. And we've now got to focus on the league. We're in 10th place, but we're only 4 points off Newcastle. And a good finish could yet be 7th place if we're able to do well. Given the fact we've got to rest the whole team in midweek, I'm not so sure though. But there is going to be a bit more better news for the future. Because next season, when we're in this position, we're going to have a slightly stronger squad. We of course brought Tammy Abraham in this year because we couldn't get our main target up front. But Fulham finished bottom of the league. 16 points from 36 games so far. And that means we have got a big player coming in. And that man, if I show you the inactive deals, is Tyrese Ricketts. 19.5 million relegation release clause. It's an absolute gem of a deal. He's improved from Premier League football this year. Look at his physicals. Is he the reincarnation of Ricky J. Jones? Well, no, because arguably, he's actually better in terms of general play. Better heading, better first touch, better technique passing, better off the ball. I mean, he looks like an absolute superstar. He's the perfect replacement to come in. And if Torres or Ricker have a dip, or if we need to rotate in the league, there's not many better backup strikers than him going about. So for 19.5 million, I am thoroughly delighted with that deal. You did see there's also an 18-year-old Brazilian midfielder we're looking at. This one's even more important because he's a very good young midfielder, but he'll also join us while still 18, which means he'll become homegrown at the club. I'm looking at Europe for the future and thinking, yes, this guy could be the answer. So I'll wait and see how that pans out. But for now, into the Newcastle United game. But just to show you there's excitement around the corner as well. And weirdly here, it's actually our defence that's more tired. And we've got to bear in mind that next Saturday is the biggest game. That's the one we're going to be here for. So we need to rest people on Wednesday. I don't want the backups to be knackered today. But in some cases, we're just going to have to do it. So Peebles will come in for Delgado. We're going to bring in Maya as centre-half for Hanifan. And we're going to bring in Danilo Jose at right-back. On the bench, we're going to go for Berry. And we're also going to go for Egan. And you know what? I'll put Cordes on for Hanifan as well, because we might as well have fit players there. Then in midweek, we'll just dip into the youth team if we need to. So not many changes today, just the 3 enforced ones in the defence. Peebles, Maya and Jose come in, and out go the fatigued fullbacks Delgado and Chauvin, and Jack Hanifan, who's struggling too. So Newcastle v Hemel Hempstead, not the best time to have a makeshift defence, but let's go and see if we can get a result as we head to St James's Park. Well, a very Liverpool feel to the Newcastle midfield as Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott line up in the middle. There's also Sobolai on the bench. There's Tamori, Cook, Smith-Rowe, McNeil, Lamptey. But there's a lot of young players coming into this side as well. We've seen Ceccherini up front before. He's phenomenal. Kana Zetchi is the skipper and goal, who's brilliant. They've got some good young players, but a lot of experience. We're not going to keep going over old ground about the older squads this year. But Sean Dyche's Burnley are normally a good foil for us. And was it Sean Dyche still in charge? Of course it was. Didn't even need to ask. Into the first half we go. Let's see if we can get a result and protect this makeshift defensive line. Well, it doesn't look good early on because we're back in the second minute with Newcastle in possession. Hang on a minute. How many empty seats are at St James's Park there? They're 7th in the Premier League. I highly doubt St James's would be that empty. I'm sorry. As Sobolai finds Curtis Jones. Out to Kinsey Lavery, over halfway. And up towards Striker, who heads away well to Martin. We need to rely on Striker. He's the only first choice defender in today, but it's been given away in midfield. Ceccherini gets himself in. And thankfully for us, he puts it over the bar. 0-0, but we get away with one there. And we've got a throw on the left-hand side with Peebles, who finds Torres. We're on our first attack of the game here, and Peebles goes back to Arlan. Time in possession finds Moreira. He's up to Carlos Martin and now Peebles. We've seen Martin do really well in the league, so we'd like the same today as he plays it into Ricker and Torres. Wonderful football between the three of them, but it is tipped behind for a corner kick, so good save. And we're now going to have the corner for the chance to get the goal, as Arlan puts it into the back post from the right-footed outswinger. Who's going to be there? Only Pascal Strike, headed away as far as Undo. It stays 0-0. 10 minutes gone. Been a decent start. And on the left-hand side, it's a Newcastle throw-in with Kinsey Lavery given away to Undo and Arlan. Sobolai nicks it off him, but Undo still fighting, gives it to Arlan, who wins it back. Now Carlos Martin surges over halfway, no pressure on him here. Really good play from the number 10. Up to Carlos Torres, gets himself in. Great save again from the Italian skipper. Newcastle got quality at both ends of the pitch. That's the difference here at the minute, as Peebles comes down the left for us. 20 minutes on the clock. We're doing really well, but we need the goal. As Martin turns again, you can see the difference in his performance in the league. Yes, that one's wayward, but the confidence to just turn and run at defenders. Absolutely phenomenal. The voice is going from that Luton-Huddersfield game on Friday night. You're going to have to forgive me for that. It's going to be even worse after the second leg on Monday. This one will be out after that. Hopefully Luton are in the playoff final as this episode's released. What we're not going to be, though, is winning at St James's Park. Because Dominic Sobolai, we know he's a quality player. But what a finish that is. Just passed it, caressed it into the corner from 30 yards. And John Moore has absolutely no chance. Peebles are credited with losing the ball in his own third there. There you go, backup defender being the problem. As Kinsey Lavery goes over the top. Will it give Newcastle all of the lift they need? Yes, it will. Ceccherini hits the post. Moore was beaten there. Thankfully, though, we survive it. It bounces back out kindly and Moore can get a grasp on it. As Newcastle win it back off Ricker again. Sobolite bringing the ball out of defence. Long downfield to Ceccherini. Our defence has just crumbled here. It's parted like the Red Sea as Ceccherini's in. Finds Albiter. What a block from Mayer. Fair play to him. He had no right to stop that going in. The keeper was beaten. It was an empty net. And it was a wonderful block from the backup centre-half. At half-time, it's going to be 1-0 Newcastle. Or is it going to be worse? Because here they come down the right in stoppage time. Jones finds Albiter to Harvey Elliott. And Jones again. Harvey Elliott out to the fullback into Sobolai. I think he's offside. I hope he's offside. Because if not, where on earth's the defence? The goalkeeper's beaten with a very good finish. Paul Tierney goes to VAR and it is disallowed. Rightly so, but worrying signs for our back four. At half-time, though, it is 1-0 the deficit. We're going to tell the lads they've been unlucky because it's been a pretty even game, but defensively, we just can't compete. We'll give it to the hour mark. We'll make some subs. We need everyone fit for next Saturday, so we're going to have to protect the legs. As Peebles throws into Torres on the left. Peebles delivers again, headed away at the back stick as far as Danilo Jose. Got time and space to run into. Goes back to Undo instead. He finds Arlan. They're not pressing us too high here, Newcastle, as Martin goes wide to Peebles. Can he find the right delivery? Goes back to Moreira. He finds Carlos Martin, out to Peebles again, looking to make amends for that error for the goal. Finds Moreira, his shot's blocked. Arlan gives it to Undo. Back to Arlan. Moreira, from 25 yards, it's a great save. Tipped over the bar. Wonderful acrobatics from Karnazeki. The skipper for Newcastle has had a really good game as Arlan puts it in. Headed away by Strike again. We've said that a number of times already. And Du picks it up on the right. He'll be coming off in a minute. Finds Danilo Jose, but it just fizzles out. And now Newcastle have a throw on the left. Curtis Jones gets it from the fullback. Gives it to Sobolai and Elliott. Switches to Lee Jones on the right. Into Albiter. And that might be game over. Possibly offside. It doesn't really matter though. Miguel Coronel will come on for Undo. He's looking the most tired at the moment. We've got to protect those legs. Goal awarded. 2-0 Newcastle. Game over. Let's just avoid injuries and limit the damage. We're just past the hour mark. We're back with Moreira in the centre circle. Plays a through ball to Ricker, who must have been offside. Doesn't matter anyway. It's tipped over the bar. It's a corner kick for Hemel Hempstead Town. Can we at least get a goal for the away fans to cheer? Arlan will be hoping so. To the back post. Strikers up. Nobody gets there. It's out to Danilo Jose on the right. He just runs it out for a throw. 25 minutes left here. I'm going to take off Arlan next. Shane Leacock will come in on a holding role. Again, it's about protecting the midfield. as Kinsey Lavery's got it on the left-hand side, to Curtis Jones, to Lavery. Options down the line, Ceccherini makes a great run, there's two in the middle, Mole's one of them, and that one is definitely not going to be chalked off. 3-0 Newcastle, they're rampant, we're tired, we're makeshift at the back, we're tired going forward, we just haven't got the quality, and when evenly matched sides come up against each other, you need to have everyone fit. I'm going to take striker off, who's been tired as well. Josh Berry will come on for him. And with 20 minutes to go, we're just going to try and see it out and hopefully not concede any more. So it's a corner kick for Hemel. Can we get a consolation? Coronel into the back post. Looked like a handball. It definitely wasn't a header. So I'm hoping that we're going to get a chance to get a goal here. We've left Ricker on. He's had a great goal scoring season and it would be nice if he could get one. Mole's penalised. He did score that last goal. But let's see if Mario Ricca can get one to the score sheet. Upright footed. The Italian goalkeeper, he saved nearly everything today. But he can't save that one. 28 for the season for Ricca. 3-1. Nothing more than a consolation. Well, you look at the game again and the stats. The expected goals were actually better. But with 4 minutes of stoppage time played, we're going to lose 3-1. Defensively, we just weren't strong enough. And unfortunately, it's not our priority, is it? 3 days after Europe, the hangover strikes again. Now let's go and see when we're next going to be back. But I think you all know when it's going to be, don't you? What that result does mean as well is we're going to finish no higher than 8th this year. So a dip from last season. But we've been playing our rotated side in the league for at least 2 months. And with very good reason too. Because as well as winning the Carabao Cup and reaching a European semi-final, we have got an FA Cup final to look forward to. Manchester United next Saturday at Wembley Stadium, where we of course still have that brilliant record. We're going to see if we can lift a second domestic cup trophy of the season and defend the FA Cup after winning it last year. Victory would also mean that we'll take part in next season's Europa League rather than Europa Conference. But last time we played them, we lost 3-0 and we got absolutely battered from start to finish. So if you're looking forward to seeing how we get on there and you did enjoy this episode, not the one we were looking for with big defeats all round, and we do fall short in Europe, but it's still a remarkable first season, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from 2 long-term stories. The head coach is back tomorrow before the FA Cup final here in 2 days' time. Let me know in the comments how you think we'll get on. Can we win it again? Or is Manchester United, one of the top 2 as an opponent, just going to be a little bit too strong? I'm thinking perhaps yes. While we wait for that one, in the meantime though, you can find links in the eye above to the head coach, to the Twitch channel, the football podcast and the merchandise store for lovely collections like my time wasting mug here. Hopefully we'll get to employ those tactics in the cup final because that will mean we're ahead at some point. But for now, there's a recent head coach episode above my head. Please do give it a try if you haven't already, and I'll see you back here in a couple of days' time to try and continue our great record at Wembley Stadium.